Hello and welcome to this presentation on virtual reality. It's a really exciting time because we are in the preliminary stages of the next great technology. It's been about a year since the very first virtual reality headsets have come out from the likes of our absolute biggest technology companies. Companies like Facebook, Google, HTC, Sony, and many more tech giants. You may have bought one, or maybe you just demoed one in a store. And most people, when they try virtual reality for the very first time, they're absolutely blown away. And I know I was. Since the first headsets have come out, a lot has happened within the industry. But there's also, at the same time, been a lot of skepticism regarding virtual reality's future. We're going to go through all of this in a 9-part series, and we're going to talk about everything there is in the virtual reality space. We'll talk about the good and the bad. We'll talk about perspectives on where it's likely to go from here. And we'll focus a lot less on the consumer or technical side. Many people cover that. We're going to focus on the business side. And the reason we want to focus on the business side is that virtual reality is the biggest opportunity, the biggest that we see in the world today. This is pretty much why all of the giant tech companies are investing billions of dollars in it. It's why some of the most prominent CEOs and some of our tech heroes are saying that this is the next great computing system. And it's why me personally, why I have invested a lot of my own business and my own time in virtual reality. The idea from these 9 videos is that we're going to take you through virtual reality in its entirety. And you can choose to either agree or disagree with my perspective. But the important thing is, we want to help you develop a perspective and identify where the opportunities are. But no matter what business you're in or what career you're in, I think virtual reality has an unbelievable opportunity for you, and I want to explain exactly why that is. Anyway, let's get started with some slides that we'll use to introduce myself, introduce what we're going to cover in these 9 videos, and get you on the road to thinking about it for your own business. Let's do it. Okay, so on the screen right now, you see the representations of all the great mediums that we've had in human history. Now, these are the technologies that enabled mass communication, and each completely changed the world. It changed how we communicate, how we work, our lifestyles, and even how we think. And visually, I wanted to put graphics that showed each in their original form. So when the printing press, the telephone, the radio, television, computer, and mobile phones were all first released, they were revolutionary at the time. But then they changed over the years, and they improved in their functionality. Well, virtual reality is next in this chain of revolutionary technology mediums. It's going to change absolutely everything. It'll change commerce. It'll change lifestyles. It'll change how we communicate. Pretty much every industry. It'll change social media as we know it today, and even how we think about in-person social behavior. This video series is going to go in depth on why we think it will change absolutely everything. And it won't stop there. It'll make predictions on how things will change, when they will change, and how businesses can play a part in adopting and entering this industry. Now, just like the internet, it's better to do it now rather than waiting until the mass adoption. So anyway, here's what we're going to cover in the next 9 videos. So we're starting off here with the introduction, and I'll introduce myself in just a bit. Then we'll go into what VR is going to do for the world more specifically. Section 3, we'll talk about will VR make it? Now, a lot of people think VR is overhyped, but we strongly disagree. And I'm going to talk about how the first version is rarely anything that resembles what the new technology eventually becomes as it matures. In Section 4, we'll go over the timeline of what that maturity is going to look like and how it will become this revolutionary technology. 5 and 6 is going to be a 2-part section on what VR is capable of doing now and how that will change for the better in the coming years. It'll cover the hardware, the software, content, investment, and much more. In Section 7, we'll talk about what can a business do within VR. This is where we'll get business specific, and we can talk about what businesses can do both right now and then how that can benefit them over the years to come. In Section 8, we'll talk about when to enter VR. So we'll talk about, if you're a business, the pros and cons of various entry strategies, but we'll also talk about why we think today is the best time. And then finally, in Section 9, we'll talk about my company, Reverse Tide, and how we can help businesses build capability, strategy, and presence within the VR market. We do a lot of interesting things and definitely think we can help you as either a business or individual wanting to get started. Now, before we get into detail, I want to really quickly introduce myself. My name is Dan Perry, and I'm the founder of Reverse Tide. And by the way, we also call ourselves RT. Now, I'm a management consultant by trade. I primarily worked in the banking industry for most of my career. Now, within that role, I helped businesses with strategy, operations, and I did project management. So within that job, I would assess various aspects of a business, whether it's a potential opportunity or something that the business needed to improve. After the assessment, I would then recommend a strategy and provide a business case for doing exactly that. Finally, upon getting approval for that strategy, I'd work as a middleman between the business and IT in order to build a solution to whatever that initiative was. And typically that would be either to increase revenue, decrease costs, or both. Now, I exited consulting to start Reverse Tide because a revolution is coming in education and technology. We exist as a website right now to help people learn professional skills, but we're evolving into a virtual learning company and training consultancy. And where virtual reality comes in is we see the unbelievable potential that has on learning, training, and commerce, and we want to be a major part of that. Now, real quickly about Reverse Tide, and you can find that at reversetide.com. As I said, we're a learning and technology services company. So at the main site, we help students and adult learners forecast the future of technology and various other trends in the marketplace. And then based on those trends, we help them build the most relevant skills to benefit in a professional way. That's how Reverse Tide started, and it's a website that exists today and helps many people. The next segment of the business is what I'm going to be going over in this presentation, and that's the virtual reality business, RT, virtual reality. And that helps businesses prepare for the most impactful technology of our generation. So we offer consulting services on how to prepare for VR. And as we said before, that includes understanding the company's unique business case for entering VR, how to really build an impactful and profitable content, and then connecting with the developers and managing the projects so that you can actually enter the VR world. And then finally, we have a developing business in education, where we help learning and training companies, institutions, and schools build a business model for the future. And we use things like VR, but other technologies as well, like digital learning, as well as other innovative business models. Now, all three of these companies are still pretty young, but we plan on getting more impactful each and every day. So anyway, that's an introduction into me and what we're going to cover within the next 8 videos. So let's move on to the next video, and we're going to focus on what virtual reality is and what it's likely to become as it matures.